Just whispers coil in the rustling leaves and trees. Quiet moments to frame it in. Feel the oceans of my life reclined in the rising tide. And the love I had for you inside.
Hello everyone, this is your president and
Vice President
of the Single Family Living Youth Advisory Board. And we're back with another episode. But this episode is a little different because it's our first time doing a part 2. So one of our previous episodes was talking about relationships or something of that nature, but I know we got sidetracked. So we wanted to include some of our additional thoughts. And that episode also had thunder, so please ignore that. Please.
In the actual video, like, did you hear it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Because if I, what's it called? If I reduce the background noise, we couldn't hear ourselves. I was like, this sucks. That's because his stuff is broken. Anyways, without further ado, we'll be presenting you with the part 2 of one of the previous episodes. So for this episode, we're going to be touching on topics related to dating culture, which can include but not limited to, because this is again unscripted because it's all about personal life, baby. And it can be related to but not limited to hookups, dating apps, and more situationships. So did you want to start?
Okay. Hookup culture is like extremely normalized in our current, I wouldn't say, would it be generation?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe generation or time. And I think it's because we lost a lot of integrity in like believing in genuine love and like affection between people. It's become really shallow and transactional.
People with a body count over 100.
Yeah, because why am I seeing people with, not to shame anyone, but seeing people with a rice purity score of like 29
Sister Hong.
and they're like 15 years old. Like, it's really scary how it's normalized to just not really be careful with how you handle yourself sexually and romantically. And I have an example of this with my friend who was a victim of, I wouldn't say hookup, it's kind of like a sector of hookup culture where it's more of a commitment issue where situationships, which are honestly sometimes just friends with benefits type relationship, get normalized. And she was seeking love, but the man she was talking to, let's name him Droney. And let's name her
Baloney.
Yeah. So Baloney basically really wanted to get a boyfriend before she finished high school, which, by the way, I don't get the hype around having to find teenage romance or like over glorifying high school, because honestly it's only a section of your life.
Real.
And it doesn't have to be the most important, almost memorable one. You can have a good time in college or even after that as well, or like whatever path you seek after high school. There's no need to try to seek out the perfect high school life.
Yeah, if you peak in high school, you're cooked.
Yeah, no peaking in high school, you're finished.
You're only out here getting cuter, in the wise words of Jack Harlow.
Exactly. So that was off topic, but Baloney was just desperate to find some sort of like affection or anything before senior year, and she found this man named, what did I nickname him again?
Droney.
Oh yeah, Joni. I don't like his name. I should change that. And Joni was very not interested in committing, but he still wanted to do everything that a couple does. So they kind of transformed into a situationship. But it was what even is the difference between a situationship and a friends with benefits?
I don't know. For me, friends with benefits is like you're acknowledging that there won't be a dating type relationship, or a situationship, depending on that relationship, can be left up to interpretation, because I know like like we said last time, you can be doing everything like you're dating, but there will not be a label to it. They're just straight up be like, oh yeah, we're not gonna be more than just, a hit and dip and call it a day.
Oh wait, that makes sense. So that means she saw it as a situationship because she thought she could change his feelings or something. I don't know. And him, he strictly saw it as a FYB, and he made that clear from the very beginning. But anyway, they did some more sexual acts and stuff, and she really overcommitted to him, only to get really sad when she thought that he liked her because they were doing everything that a couple did. They were basically in a relationship, but they just had no label. So she confessed, and he became uncomfortable and decided to drop her. And in this situation, I feel like both sides are wrong because from one aspect, it's like if she knew the boundaries that he put out and she knew what she was getting into, then why would she pursue something that didn't really have hope? But at the same time, I can sympathize with, like, especially in this generation, there's always like this necessity to like be in love all the time. Like, people really don't value platonic friendships anymore. They really think the main way of connecting to people is through romance or like having a life filled with romance, and that's not true. You can have meaningful relationships by just staying platonic and not having to seek out love. And it's okay to seek out love, but it's also important to be mindful of what you're committing to and if it's actually going to work out or if you're just hurting yourself in the end. And on the other side, it's also just odd because many people are like Joni, where they really don't want to put a label or commit to anything at all, and they kind of lost like this, I wouldn't say respect, but this like mindfulness for like vulnerability and like having a meaningful relationship because they don't want to keep a label on it and they want to just do it with whoever with like no meanings attached to it. And that causes like love and like relationships to become more shallow and just like seem less meaningful because people don't really care about how you can be extremely vulnerable with someone, and it takes a lot of trust and time to build a relationship with that. People kind of skip the steps of building trust and like compatibility and just go straight to
Going to Pound Town, if
Yeah.
you will. Been there, done that. But I've seen some interesting situationships in my time as a fellow member of the Gen Z community where, like I said, actually I cut this out, but situationships don't know any bounds. So it can be any gender, sexuality, race, whatever. And there was one instance of a same gender relationship at our school where this guy, we'll call him Carl because he's a interesting individual, and Andrew, they were in this relationship where they started in the summer before our senior years of school started, and they would just be living it up, but they kept the relationship low key. Like, not many kids at our school knew, and I only knew because of one of the friends I was friends with at the time, and they were just having fun. But when it came to school, they were never seen together, and I was confused because I was like, what, y'all are y'all not dating? Like, I swear y'all was living it up in the summer. And one of them were open about their relationship preferences when the other one wasn't. So maybe that was why they weren't open and holding hands and doing whatever at school. Like, they would still be seen together, but it wasn't obvious that they were in a relationship. But again, I have my own life and I don't really care about those people. And like a couple months after August, because August was when we started school, I found out by somebody yelling at my friend, being like, why didn't you tell me that those two broke up? Like, why won't you tell me the reason? Why won't you do this, that? And I was like, oh, okay, so they're not together. And because of that, the Andrew guy, he pulled out of the school play because he was supposed to be helping out. And the Caro guy, because we were friends at that time, he came to me complaining, talking about, yeah, he's just, I don't even like him. Like, we're not even together anymore. He's too clingy. He's too this. And then come December, because actually November, come late November, I was hanging out with Caro and another friend. This is the friends that was mentioned in the last episode. But
all these ops.
yeah, I was hanging out with those two because he was working at our local community center, and he was like, "Oh yeah, I know I said I was done with Andrew, but he's gonna come pick me up, and we're gonna just do things in his car.
Yeah.
So y'all can head out before that happens." And I was like, "Oh, okay."
But
I thought y'all weren't together. He's like, "Yeah, we're not, but why not?" So I was just like, okay. I left with my mom and I didn't think anything of it until this Carl guy started bringing Andrew to the play rehearsals. And they would be all lovey-dovey and snuggled all up under each other, and it was just a sight to see.
But imagine seeing them kissing. That looks so musty.
Oh. Yeah, I didn't see that, thankfully. But, I don't have a problem with people being couples, but you literally just said not even 2 weeks ago that y'all weren't together. But I guess because Carl was entertaining him, now all of a sudden Andrew was involved in the school play again. And that was the whole thing. But when I questioned Carl about it, he was like, "Oh yeah, it's whatever." And turns out he was like, "Oh yeah, I actually never loved him. I was just with him because I wanted to be. And he thought we were a relationship, but we weren't. And I broke up with him a few times because I'm not."
That's crazy. Let me put a commentary.
What?
That's crazy. Okay.
And he was saying that he was too clingy for them to actually be together. But my thing is, because of the Andrew guy, your parents found out that you played for the same team. So I don't know what's going on. He at the end of the day, Carl said that he never loved him. He was just only using him because he knew that Andrew liked him. So I don't even know if I would consider that. I think that would be considered friends with benefits because they wouldn't really interact during normal school hours, but then they would be all up on each other after school hours. So that it was really in between a friends with benefits type situation, but a situationship, because there was that emotional attachment, but then they kept things casual. But that was only on Carl's end. So I don't know.
I think it's crazy how they were like both mutually using each other.
But the other guy didn't know. Andrew didn't know that that Carl didn't feel the same about him. Yeah, he was just playing into his emotions.
Yeah, it's crazy that Carl was exploiting the fact that Andrew genuinely felt something for him, while knowing that the relationship couldn't prosper for long because he himself didn't feel anything. And that's the issue with a lot of friends with benefits and just situationships in general, because it's playing with someone's emotions and leading them on because you yourself cannot commit to them. And it's messed up because I have never seen any type of relationship like that end well. I know maybe in very rare circumstances it does, but most of the time when you're indulging in a situationship or friends with benefits, you're only setting yourself up to get hurt, because in the end the person either betrays your trust by finding someone else, or things get weird when you become too emotionally attached that you feel like you have to say something about it, and then your entire relationship breaks. Either way, it's extremely fragile and very easy to corrupt, because it's essentially just a relationship where someone can exploit everything vulnerable about you without really ever even committing to you or making sacrifices for you. And that's the issue with these types of relationships in general.
I know for this relationship, it got toxic to a point where Andrew was talking crap about Carl, and Carl was talking crap. Well, he was talking crap the entire time, but Carl was talking crap about Andrew, and they were in the same theater class. And why did Andrew literally make his final exam to graduate and get our additional degree about Carl? It was so messy.
Oh wait, how?
I mean, how?
Wait, what do you mean?
Because they had to write their own plays.
Oh.
And submit it to the IB.
That
made my not me saying friend. That made Carl cry. So Carl was over there tweaking out, and then he was like, and then Andrew texted him after performing and basically airing out their dirty laundry, saying, "Oh yeah, that was about you. Good luck," because he had to perform that same day.
That's messy.
And his play went terribly wrong, but oh well. So that's just like reinstilling your point that
it only causes destruction.
Yeah, and it's like I heard about it because Carl was airing out their dirty laundry to me, and it's like he was crying about it, but it's like if you didn't like this man or if you had no emotional attachment, why are you mad? It's like I understand why he's mad, but at the same time,
it's hypocritical to be mad that he aired out your dirty stuff while you
do the same exact thing, but also you didn't love him. Why are you mad that
he had a right to be upset that he was led on? What was his name? Andrew.
Exactly. It's like he's just portraying your relationship with him in their own art form. So I understand, but I don't feel bad for you, and I didn't.
Situationships and friends with benefits 9 times out of 10 don't work out, and I think it's better if people just make it clear what they want in a relationship ahead of time, even if it's you wanting something romantic while the person you're pursuing isn't ready to commit to anything yet. Because there's nothing wrong with not wanting to commit just yet, but you need to be fully communicative about how you feel and what you want from a relationship, so you don't get used or lead someone else. Yeah.
Oh, good points. Oh, yeah. I'll find that eventually. Good point. I definitely agree, because as an outsider, I was like, this is messy. Mm-hmm. It was so messy, and I didn't even know what to say, because it's like you're both in the wrong.
Yeah.
At some point in time, they were both in the wrong, and I was just like, okay.
2 wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah, 2 wrongs don't make a right. And
just make a left.
Yeah, and then Andrew ended up getting blocked. I don't know if they rekindled after that. I don't care, but
I don't like Andrew. He's smelly.
Oh.
Sorry, my stomach's growling.
Okay. But that was just one of the examples of the very murky waters of dating culture these days. Another example that we saw in my friendships, I don't know why they're so interesting.
You got villains for friends, bro.
Including you?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm an angel.
Never mind. But this one guy that I'm talking to,
Kevin.
we'll name him
Drake.
Sonny.
Okay.
And
oh my god. Unique son.
Yeah, that is not his name. Unique. We'll name him Sonny. And in the last episode that we talked about dating culture, I mentioned how he's coming to America and how he wanted to find a girlfriend. When I was asking him about that, because I know people going to his school, specifically in his college of engineering, girl, turn that down. In his college of engineering, he said that he wouldn't date anybody that he's close to, and that just kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it's like, I understand, because his justification was the fact that they have a saying in his culture where you wouldn't want to break a relationship that you've been building for so long. I forgot what it was bar for bar, because we like to yap here, and this was a month or 2 ago. And I understood it, but then that just makes his version of relationships kind of shallow, because it's like you know nothing about that person and you're basing it off looks. And I was like, what? Okay. But when I was asking him questions about it, I was just confused, because I don't even know how to explain it. Because when he first said that, I was like, what do you mean you don't want to know someone before pursuing them romantically? I feel like that just sets you up for failure. And when he genuinely was talking about his past relationships, that's what they were, failures.
Oh,
because
why'd you clock him like that?
because and it's like, that's no hate to him for not wanting to jeopardize the close relationships that he has, but that takes too much time. There's no problem with like learning who people are from scratch, but you're basically shutting off the possibility for someone to be romantically with you after getting to know them for a certain point.
So do you think, like, I was thinking
I
like
don't
maybe
think.
he like once he becomes friends with someone, he sees it strictly platonical, and like he can't see it evolve into something more. So how would you think someone who thinks like that should approach relationships? Like if they, like once they become friends, they can't see you as anything more because they have like these isolated boxes for different types of relationships, if that makes sense.
Well, he told me how he approached relationships, and that in itself is very interesting, because for one, he'll just go up to someone and say, "Oh, can I have your Instagram? I find you attractive," or whatever the case may be. And when he did that, that led to some problems. But then once he realized they were problems, he separated himself from that person, which is like, okay. But if you just took the time out to ask follow-up questions in that moment, there wouldn't have been a problem in the first place. And the second time, like, he said he became this way after like pursuing this one French girl, and that's what made him want to just like go up to people and start saying, "Oh, I like you." Bro. And I say, like, you can keep doing that, but just finding a method to your madness, I guess, or finding a way that works is beneficial. Because if someone came up to me and was like, "Oh, I like you, can I have your Instagram?" I would be taken aback, because it's like, if you're coming up to me without even knowing me, with the intention of getting into a romantic relationship and wanting to like jump through hoops that it takes to become like in a relationship, I would be off-putted. I would be kind of confused. Would I probably still give him my Instagram? Yeah, but I wouldn't be like, "Okay, I'll give you my Instagram. We can be a couple right now. Now." So it's like, yeah, if you're willing to talk to someone and get to know them after just blurting out that you like them after seeing them on the streets for 2 seconds, be my guest. But that's just not me. Not me.
Indeed.
Yeah. Yeah. I forgot what was I gonna say about that. But again, just because I don't approach relationships the same way, that doesn't mean his way is necessarily wrong. But look at the trends, my brother. It's not working.
I can argue that you don't even have to be friends with someone to like date them, but at the very least, like, get to know them, like know them at like a really more personable level, and that does kind of end up making you friends if you're trying to get to know them.
I would want to date my friend.
Yeah, I would want to date my friend as well, but I know some people, for whatever reason, they don't want to. Maybe they like really like
like to rush the steps.
They like to rush the steps, yeah, and just like go to third base immediately. But I think it's more meaningful when there's like there's like a build up of it, and there's like trust being built and like more depth to the relationship, rather than just simply skipping to third base, like what the president said, because then your relationship becomes strictly romantic, and romance, I want to argue, doesn't really have that much depth if it's really all there is to your relationship. Like, if the only thing you can do is be lovey-dovey and just like like, hi, you're so attractive and hot, more, and like just like send like good night messages and good morning texts about how much you love this person, but you don't have like a actual like in depth.
You don't have a foundation to stand on.
Yeah, you don't have a foundation to stand on with that person and when that relationship, then it's gonna crumble because like realistically, like at some point in a lot of relationships, especially like romantic ones, you're gonna sometimes maybe not fall out of love, but it's gonna like plateau. You're not gonna like feel this like feeling of like butterflies.
Yes,
and, like,
there's gonna be
romance.
moments in your relationship where you're challenged, and that doesn't mean someone's going to cheat. That just means, like the VP said, you're not gonna always be in love with your partner 24/7. But that's if you didn't take the time out to get to know somebody genuinely before getting into a relationship, that challenge you're going to fail. And that's what I've noticed with my friend, because he said, oh, I've never been in a serious relationship, or anytime I like tried something like with the girl, it didn't work out. And it's like, that's because you're approaching it from the point where you have no foundation. So once it's time to get serious or do whatever, you fail the challenge every time. And it's like, that doesn't mean to say when you're in a relationship you stop learning about that other person. It's just like you know enough for it to be truly worth that time to get to know them further.
Romantic love isn't strong enough to hold your relationship together. You also need a foundation of like maybe like platonic love or like just like genuine love for their character or personality. If you base it off just romance all the time, then you're gonna have a very weak relationship. And that's why I personally think it's important to at least get along with the person you love as a friend or best friend at the very least. But even if you don't agree with that or want that, like just get to know that person and recognize their morals and where they stand, because if you find that out 5 years into your relationship, that's on you. Like, why?
Or after you get married or something, and then they switch up.
Yeah, after you get married, that's insane. Like, you should have known what you're committing to beforehand. And I know people sometimes they show their true colors and change over time, but that's why we have to be really cautious and try our best to be highly aware and not look at things in rose-tinted glasses, so that we can not, be marrying someone and thinking of another person, but it's a whole new personality and whatever. I don't know.
Yeah. I know I would want to like be in a relationship with my best friend, because even the people that I'm platonically even with the people that I'm platonically in a relationship with, it's not like me. I don't even have to be around you just to enjoy your presence. Your presence can transcend my phone or laptop screen. Anytime I talk to you, I'll get giddy every time. Aww. And it's like, I didn't say you, bro. And it's like I don't even have to talk to you every day for those feelings to exist. So will I still worry about you? Yes, but if you knew that person, especially the VP where she responds whenever she pleases, and it's like, I can't be mad at that. I know the trends, bro. I get a message when I get a message. But just like I wouldn't even say you have to prioritize having a platonic relationship, but just what am I trying to say? Not prioritizing, but just appreciating that a platonic relationship before you even try to make something romantic. I would see that as more worthwhile, because at least with my friends, I like to ask uncomfortable questions, because that allows me to understand you beyond surface level things. Like, I love to challenge my friends' morals, and even though we don't have to agree on them, we still have the same core values, and that can transcend a little argument or disagreement over like mint or pistachio ice cream or something. Mm-hmm. But yeah, would you want to do that?
Do what?
Like, would you like want somebody to appreciate the platonic relationship you have before jumping into a romantic relationship?
Yeah, absolutely, because I personally prioritize platonic friendships more. Like, I don't actively seek a romantic relationship, mostly because of my religion, but also because I think there's arguably more depth to platonic relationships rather than romance, because romance, especially nowadays, have been condensed to these specific requirements that you have to reach for a relationship.
If he wanted to, he would.
Yeah, if he wanted to, he would, or if she wanted to, she would.
Back in the day, they used to send love letters on pigeons. It's like, okay, we understand that.
We're in 2025. We don't got pigeons anymore. We got email and text messages and whatever. But the thing is, like, it became a checklist of things you gotta do to show how
like a
much.
competition.
Yeah, there's like a competition of how worthy you are to receive love and if you're doing the right thing. But that's not what love is. Each relationship differs because of the experiences of different people. It's not gonna be the same. Like, people aren't gonna be put in the same box of what, if they're like good or bad, or like if their relationship is good or bad, or if they're like romantic enough, not romantic enough, because the way people treat each other is different, because they have different boundaries, different standards. Maybe some people don't like to touch in a relationship, like a romantic relationship, because that's not their thing, but they have really good quality time together because that's what they prefer. That doesn't mean they have a bad relationship because they don't feel each other up. They just have a different way of showing love, and that's why I don't really focus on that, because that stuff is too messy for me. I'll just do what I want to do whenever it comes. But I think platonic relationships, they have a way to like really, I think, like, affect your character in a way, because platonic relationships kind of like build your identity up in a way, because the people you're surrounded by, even if you don't think they have the capacity to, they do change you and they do affect your personality and character.
For better or for worse.
Yeah, for better and for worse. So, like, surrounding yourself with good platonic friendships really changes you as a person, because you learn more, you experience things in different lights, and, like, you just overall have, like, this better perceivance of the world because of your friends. And that's why I think it's really important to really appreciate your platonic friendships, because I know a lot of people at the same time, once they get in a relationship, like with their boyfriend or girlfriend, they're like, bye, I don't care about these people no more. And that's such a huge loss, because romantic relationships can give you some experience in different things, but platonic relationships also have so many different lenses that they can offer you to see in. And if you're only just like prioritizing and caring about your romantic relationship, you're gonna have such a narrow mind and perspective of the world, because you don't really value or see things for a much greater expanse than it can possibly be in with you just caring about romantic relationships. So yeah, if my future lover or whatever was my best friend first, I would really love that, because that means they saw my personality, they saw my character, and even if I do have flaws, I know I definitely have flaws, they still decided to pursue me and see me in a good light. And that's more than enough to show that, like, I think they would be someone that's dedicated to committing to me on a more higher level.
Yep. Additionally, like, with what you were saying, like, if you're in a relationship with your friend, it doesn't even have to be your best friend. Like, even if the relationship doesn't end on good terms and you had that foundation, maybe one day you can still go back to being friends. And I've noticed a lot of couples on, like, the internet, because I'm not in a relationship, that were friends first and then they fell out of love, they moved on, but they're still best friends, or they're still friends with each other. It just took that time to say, you know, we're no longer together, but I still value you enough and I see your value as a person to still want to pursue a relationship with you, even though we're no longer together. And I think that's really cool. I think that's important. That's awesome sauce. Didn't you want to talk about Ange? His job.
Oh no, I have another example now. But like, yeah, another thing is, like, when people get into romantic relationships, they don't ever see each other as like a individual person anymore, which I think platonic friendships offer, because you see people as their individual selves and still connect with them. But in romantic relationships, you kind of see them as like an asset. Not an asset. I'm not sure what the word is, but you no longer see them as just like a person of their own with their own lives, but they're like your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your partner, whatever. And it's, I don't know, it's kind of like a weird concept that I've noticed a lot. And oh my god, there's another thing I wanted to bring up. So my friend, she actually sent me a text message today about it. She says she just hooked up with her friend because she's like 20 and she just really didn't want to go on with life without like at least having a kiss before 20. And so her and her friend just did it, and they're like casual. They don't really, there's like tension, but it's not like romantic tension. but they're still like platonic, but they just did that with each other. How do you feel about that?
Whoa! I will never understand the people that live life trying to check like boxes or reach goalposts in life. If I'm not married by 40, you have to be with me. And it's like, that's not a good way to live, because from this point on until you're 40 years old, that's all you're going to be trying to achieve, a romantic relationship in hopes of marriage. And you can live life without experiencing this grand romance. There's more things to life than romance. And when people only focus on trying to check romantic boxes by certain ages or points in their life, I think that's kind of like a miserable life to live.
Okay, whatever. Anyway, yeah, I agree with what the president said, because I'm her number one glazer, and yeah, I don't really have much else to say. Please care for your platonic friendships. They are just as important as your romantic ones. Don't be so obsessed with love; it'll come to you on its own. If you chase it, it's never gonna come. Yeah, things only come when you stop chasing and then you start appreciating other things. Yeah, I don't have anything else to say. Let's have the president close this up.
Yeah, I'll be your number one glazer for today. I agree. Life is not a chase. It's not a race. It's a marathon. Not everything's gonna happen to you at the checkpoints that you expected, and that's okay. So as I conclude, I just want to give a shout out to Noisy Skyrim, our artist of the month and probably year, because none of us make some music as well. And I'll give a shout out to our socials at SFLYAB on TikTok and Instagram, and on YouTube it's Single Family Living Nonprofit Organization, where we repost our TikToks and our podcasts. You can find our podcast on Spotify, Apple Music, Audible, Apple Podcasts, and many more places. So peace, love. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.